Hi, I'm glad to see you here. Being here is the first step towards breaking a kind of an unhealthy relationship that exists in education today. Before I tell you how my website's set up and how I think you should use it, I really want you to understand this relationship. You see, in education today, you have an authority figure that's an authority in the topic, gives you information in the form of a lecture, usually a PowerPoint. You sit there and you take notes. Raise your hand and you ask questions if you have one. But this is really a key distinction. You're asking the teacher. Anyway, you go home, you do your homework, you study, come back, take a test, move on to the next thing. And in math in particular, what ends up happening is you end up having, you learn this one unit, then you learn the next, then you learn the next, and then you learn the next, and so on. And before you know it, well, your freshman year of high school, that's 36 different units. That's 36 different things to keep track of. And that's really a sad situation because it doesn't really work that way. When you understand something, you understand how it's all interrelated. I mean, even different subjects are interrelated. They're not their own separate things. So here's how I think it should work. I think the teacher should be more of a tour guide and a cheerleader. You see, my job is to introduce to you topics. I can't actually teach you math. Nobody can. Math is something you have to learn. It's kind of like learning how to ride a bike or play an instrument. You have to make mistakes. My job is to encourage you, to keep you on track, to keep you motivated, to keep you moving through. You see, here's how it should work. You should be presented with some information. You should have questions. You should be confused. And you should ask your peers, because what ends up happening is you end up learning things that you didn't even know you were confused about yet. But if I, the teacher, tells you, well, you're done thinking. You just accept it as a fact and you're going to forget. So that's how I think it should work compared to how it is working right now. So here's how I think you should use the website. You go to a topic you're trying to learn about and you click on the little PDF icon. Print it off. Read it, and when you're reading it, take notes. And what I mean is, circle things that are confusing to you, and write down questions. And when you realize something, when you understand something, write it out. I don't think I could overemphasize this. When you finally get a breakthrough, when you learn something, you need to write it out right there. Write it out. Don't just highlight it. That's not good enough. Write it out. The reason this is important is because, well, when you just learn something, there's a new neural connection in your brain. It's fragile. If you move on, if you get distracted before that gets a little bit more solid, it's gone. And maybe you've said this before, I understand it, I just can't say it. You might understand it, but you won't remember it. And the reason why is memory is language. You can't remember something without the language. When you're remembering what you got for Christmas, you're describing it. When you're remembering, oh man, remember that really good pizza we had? You're describing it. You don't actually remember the sensations and the feelings. You have to describe them. So without the language, you won't remember it. So take your time. Just give yourself some time. Be patient. Go ahead and just write it out. And if you're having trouble with that, that's all the more important it is to sit down and write it out. Because if you're having trouble articulating the thing you just understood, it's gonna just disappear if you don't give yourself the time to make it solid. Again, it's kind of like learning stuff's kind of like going to the gym. Like say you want to bench press 300 pounds or something. You don't just come in right off the street and in a day you're bench pressing 300 pounds. It's going to take a long time. Learning is the same way. You're actually developing these physical things in your brain. You can't rush it. It takes time. So anyway, when you're done reading all of that, go through and watch the videos. If there's an example problem in the video, just pause it. Try it. Play the video, see if you got it right. Then try the practice problems, and then this is maybe the most important part. After the practice problems, click on the icon that is review, where I go over the problems with you because I will talk about the pitfalls, because those problems are not just generic problems. I write them in a way that you can approach them, you can do them, but there's also little tiny things that I know students get confused by. And I want to expose those misunderstandings, but not just so you're wrong, but so that you can then have a chance to replace those misunderstandings with, well, correct understanding. Anyway, that's how I've got this whole thing set up. Now, right now we are in the early stages, the infancy. I'm about 1/16 of the way done with my entire project, but the foundation is there and it's going to start building faster and faster and faster. So if you're, say, an Algebra 2 student and what you need is not on the site yet, check back, check back, check back. We're populating it all the time. Anyway, I would really like to thank you for your time. I really hope that I can be of service to you. I hope that I can help you so that math is not a hurdle for you. I hope that math can be a platform. See, if you can shine mathematically, then you can get all kinds of scholarships and grants, and then all kinds of doors open. And you don't even have to be into math. You just have to be able to show that you know how to do it. So I'd like to help you with that. As always, thank you for your time. If you ever have questions, you can always find me on Twitter. I'll put the link in the description below. It's Bearded Mathman, twitter.com/beardedmathman. Anyway, thank you again. Till next time, have a good day. You see, the thing is, if you can't write it out, will you stop? Thank you. Forgive me, I got a little bit distracted. I got my pug with me here because he's a turd, and if I leave him through the house, he's gonna go tear everything up. And he's like stepping on my foot, getting me all kinds of discombobulated. Anyway,